Hey guys, this is your co-host, False Bulls 123.
Welcome to a little fill-in episode on what recently happened with a missing episode and what we're planning on doing with the channel, I guess. If
Yeah.
if you want to fill that in too.
hmm I think that's always a good idea. And just for any nerds in the audience, we are specifically talking about the finale to Red Chrome Cargo, which we do have the first episode on our channel right now.
Yes, indeed we do. That's with a little bit different of a party. We had a little switch up in management, so not management, but switch up in attendances
hmm
since then. And right now, it's looking like the party we do have is going to be the party we are sticking with, at least for the meanwhile. But that being said, all nice guys, no shade, no drama, nothing like that.
hmm
Just scheduling stuff, basically.
Yeah.
Um, so, for those who haven't seen it yet, I've been DMing for an ongoing campaign of Cyberpunk Red, and Bulls here has been one of the players, along with some folks we met online.
Yeah. Love fun internet friends, which is always nice.
Indeed.
Yeah,
Where were we?
so I guess we can probably just go over what actually happens in the finale. So if you've watched our previous episode, you'll remember that when we ended, Mia, which is the character I play, is on fire. There's about to be some sort of like horrible nonsense coming through the doors, and they still haven't found the boxes that Hornet has asked them to get. And so, what happens in this secret episode after this commercial break? I'm joking. Basically, what happens is this amazing firefight. There's this like turret gun, is what you called it. Yeah, like the one on the ceiling.
Well, it
That's
is the ceiling turret.
yeah, like a ceiling turret gun, and is being pointed all around. And I believe it was Murphy, who's the media, who's played. Is that Nihilus? Is that the guy who does the Punk YouTube
Yes,
channel?
that is Nihilus,
Yeah, he's really
who
great.
plays
Go check him
Murphy in
out.
Media. He's the only other player along with Bulls here that carried over from the
hmm
old group into the
Yeah.
current group.
Also, one of the few content creators online. Check out our stuff. Self promo. Anyway, but yeah,
Yes,
basically,
indeed.
he calls up the main guy whose name is Sergey. He's like the boss, and basically talks him down from killing all of us. And so we get the boxes, we fight off the Red Chrome, which is this like, neo-fascist gang of booster thugs, and
I
we
am literally explaining that from the book.
mhm,
Your interpretation is as good as mine.
yeah. No, and also I will say that I look up half of the things you say on like Cyberpunk Wiki and then wonder if I'm cheating.
No, that's fine. It's the world. It's stuff
Yeah.
like you're not looking up the modules that
hmm
I'm basing off of. And by the way, I am basing these off of pre-existing modules.
Yeah.
Some of them, somewhat at least. I mix things up a little bit. I try to advance them a little bit to
hmm
match the current state of the game. But
Yeah. Well, I
I
will
have
say
I have a few ideas for custom adventures, but right now it's
yeah.
uh, old old modules from 2020, uh, freshened up slash a few redesigned maps.
hmm Well, I will say that that is working smarter, not harder. I know that I've tried naming in the past, and literally the way I will approach it is just try to make everything from scratch, and I get burnt out like 60 pages in because I'm like, oh, I need to make all these maps. I need to make all this like story writing, and I just get so overwhelmed by it. So I mean, I
I
am never
I'd warn
judging you
against
for zhuzhing it up and stylizing it.
well, thank you. I'd warn against burnout for this strategy too because it does involve learning a separate game because 2020 and Red are not totally alien to each other, but
Mm-hmm.
they have their uniqueness
Yeah.
to it. Um,
I will say that I've actually had a lot of fun just like editing these videos. I will say for anyone that's like listening, like meta wise, I have been trying to edit them less. The first episode we did, I think it probably took me like good 10-12 hours to edit it, and it was a lot of fluff that just wasn't really needed. So going
Yeah,
forward,
don't
I'm definitely just going to be a lot rougher of a cut. But hey,
yeah, don't
yeah,
overwork yourself. This is a long play. It's
yeah,
what folks are hopefully coming here for.
mm-hmm.
If you're looking for anything specific, by all means, mention down in comments or anything
Yeah.
like that. But we're
I am
happy
always
to.
happy to take like feedback, but I will hurt my
Oh yeah, of
feelings.
course. Um, but anyways, as we were saying,
Mhm.
we were in the train and
Yes,
had come
sorry.
across.
So yeah, basically Murphy, that's the media. He talks down Sergey, who's the boss, and we managed to find I believe it was 5 different boxes that he needed, and also find a copy of the ship's manifest. There's a bunch of kerfuffling with actually getting the boxes on the train and getting everyone else on the train with like Red Chrome shooting us, and it was just a really fun time to dust off everyone's handgun skills. And I believe that
Uh, you
hmm?
you as the netrunner had
Yes.
found the manifest in
Mm-hmm.
the air gapped network, as
Yes.
well as eventually shut down the overhead turret once the fighting had actually finished.
Yeah. Which that is one thing that I always feel kind of sad about, that like I do try my best as a net runner, but it also takes a long time to get through a net architecture just by its nature, which I feel like going into it I am going to try to increase my interface skill just so that I have a little bit more like leeway to do things and help the change of the battle. But there is
Yeah,
one more. Hmm?
net running is playing a completely separate game within this game.
Yeah, which I honestly don't mind as a playing style. I tend to be a very strategic player when it comes to like sort of like these games. So it's like it definitely fits the way that I like to think about combat. I used to play Stratego and stuff like that as a kid, so I'm like, oh, this makes sense. There is one last thing that I should mention about the module for anyone that wants the deep, sexy lore. And that is that like as we are leaving, on the train, running away from the red chrome, we have a stowaway, which I described as a red chrome cavalry. Don't ask me where I got that name from. I don't think they have the same sort of like army hierarchy that I'm imagining. But yeah, this like thug comes in, shoots the conductor, and he immediately gets his ass handed to him by the party. We interrogate him. He doesn't really know much. He's just some dumbass lackey. But we do find that the name of Sergey's boss, right, the guy that was like running this little train robbery, is named Dmitry Vladikov, which is one of the most Russian names I have heard today. It is very
It is
Russian.
definitely not a name I came up with in the moment.
Yes. It is very Russian, and I have remembered it and written it down correctly, and I will hold it over your head. No, I'm teasing, but no,
I
it's.
don't even know if that last one is a real Russian last name or not.
I mean, I feel like you can fake it. I love a good fantasy for a name. So apparently it is. I have found people named Vladikov. I did,
Um,
however, spell it incorrectly. I spelt it as, let's see. Okay.
you say this like I know how to spell it, but
Well, no.
continue.
I spelled it Vladikov, right? And apparently the things that I'm seeing for someone named Vladikov is spelled with 2 F's. So like Vladikov, right?
Okay.
And also, apparently, the character whose name is Vladikov is a Dr. Seuss character.
Oh, huh. I don't
So,
know what that says about
so
my subconscious, but
I mean, I have had weirder naming conventions. So do you want to have a very small spoiler? In that D&D game that we played, all of the townsfolk were named after Baptists.
okay.
Yeah, so it's like I love really weird naming conventions. If you want to like name everyone after 1930s German silent film stars, I love that. You know what I mean? It's like it does not matter to
Hmm.
me. Ooh,
Yeah.
but yes, just I am curious about this. It was the vulture from Dr. Seuss's Horton Hears a Who.
Oh, okay.
And there is
You know what? I know who that vulture is. It was voiced by Will Arnett, wasn't it?
it was literally the next paragraph down. It says in the film he was voiced by Will Arnett, who also voiced the lone gunslinger in Ice Age: The Meltdown and a bunch of other random shit. I did not know that Will Arnett had a voice acting career.
Yeah, Will Arnett
Good
is
for him.
he does some stuff.
Wow. Okay. No, he was apparently also the sous chef in Ratatouille.
Yes, he was.
Oh
He
my
killed this
fucking
man
god.
with this thumb.
And he was in Batman in the Lego movie.
Yeah,
And
it was
in the Lego
Batman.
Batman movie. Wait, this is. Oh my. I am learning so many things about life right now.
Yeah, that's Will Arnett for you. He's a colorful character.
Oh my god. Oh, also, apparently he did a cameo in Bojack Horseman. That's the least surprising about any of this, but like.
Wait, what do you mean a cameo in BoJack Horseman? He was BoJack Horseman.
Wait, he was? How do I
Yes.
not know these things about Will Arnett? The last time I saw him, it was in one of those sitcoms that he was in. Was it after Arrested Development? I swear it was
Yeah,
something.
when you say one of his sitcoms, I think Arrested Development, but
You know, me just like doing the opposite of like, what would be like the opposite of like hyping somebody up, like downplaying it? Me just critically not understanding how much Will Arnett has done. That sounds like it.
yeah.
Wait a second. He's married to Amy fucking Poehler?
Oh yeah, that makes
Hold,
sense.
how did I not know that? I've read her biography.
Oh,
Yeah. Which also, fun fact, did you know? Sorry, I'm getting off track, but did you know that Amy Poehler, like, helped found, like, the United Citizens Brigade and also banged Matt Besser? One of these things is not as exciting as the first one.
huh.
Yeah. Also, I guess people don't know who
The
Matt.
former I knew, the latter I didn't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, it makes sense. Matt Besser was also like part of like UCB, but it's like, yeah, they
Yeah.
totally dated for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was like
You've seen all of Parks and Rec, right?
I have seen all of Parks and Rec. Was
Okay.
he in Parks and Rec too?
Will Arnett, yeah.
How do I not
He,
remember
he
anything
was a
about
cameo.
fucking Will Arnett?
He, he was a cameo in like the first or second season as a doctor who says that who's really creepy and says that why can't I remember her name? Leslie could have triplets right off the bat and um
Okay, he does sound vaguely familiar.
yeah, he was a very creepy and annoying doctor character and
Yeah.
that was annoying on purpose.
God. See, now I just want to rewatch Parks and Rec again.
I know, I do too. I just watched a video essay on it yesterday and it was really
Oh, wait,
good.
who was the? Is it by that guy who like dresses up as a blue jay, like Jose?
Yes, it was by the Blue Jay guy. Thank you.
Oh, okay, I haven't seen that one, but I do like I am subscribed to him, and I do know he does like sitcom reviews. I haven't listened to any of his sitcom reviews, but I do kind of want to like pay homage to that and just make a 5-hour essay about why I hate the Big Bang Theory. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, that'd be a good idea.
Because like there's
That'd rack
so
up
much
some
to
views. I
unpack
also hate the
there.
Big Bang Theory as
It's like
um
I feel like the main two things that I kind of first the whole Sheldon thing and like the really not great portrayals of like autism coding with that character. But then there's like also that whole thing about how they let all of their like people of color characters say racist shit about their own race, and it kind of feels like my black friend said it type stuff. You know what I mean? And
yeah, I feel like hmm,
I don't know. It's like
yeah, I want to give him a little bit of a pass because it's
Yeah. I mean, like, I'll
It's
give them a
meant in
little.
jest,
Yeah, it's like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that, like, people
but it's
can't make
also
jokes about
not
their own
the
race.
not the most unlazy of writing.
Yeah, it's. I'm not thinking about every joke. Obviously, people can make jokes about, like, being halal. Not halal, but, like, being, like, kosher and stuff like that. Just some of the jokes, like, they're edgy, so they give it to their, like, quote unquote marginalized characters to make it a little bit, like, less offensive. You know what I mean? Also,
Yeah,
the main thing, it's hard to describe. It's like not every joke, but it is some like very specific ones where I will side eye it. The main thing for me with that show is the queer baiting, and I never really noticed it as a kid, but it's really fucking prevalent when you watch it again. Because like sure, there's like the whole like Howard and not Howard and Ron, Howard
Howard
and
and Raj.
Raj, thank you. But it's also like Amy. Amy Taylor Fowler like plays pretty much like this closeted like lesbian character for like the first season she's on like screen, and it's like it's like so queer baity. It's like all the jokes are like presented around like, oh my goodness, she has a girl crush for like Penny. Isn't it so funny? Like girls want to make out with each other. That's coconuts on bodkins, and it makes me want to kind of vomit in my mouth. You know what I mean? Just the way they like present like this as like comedic, and I'm like, why can't Amy Fowler be bisexual and also want to fuck Sheldon? There's been crazier things.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. I know.
well, I mean, to be fair, who really wants to fuck Sheldon?
I know, right? It's like he, I want to be clear. I'm not saying that the guy who plays Sheldon, whose name I've forgotten and don't care to learn.
Jim Parsons.
Thank you. I'm not saying that like Jim Parsons is unfuckable or anything. I mean, I don't want to fuck him, but like, I'm not saying he's
Yeah,
ugly or
no,
anything. But
I mean that in
Sheldon
a
as a
personality
character is
sense.
just. I feel like what gets me about Sheldon is that he does have, he's an interesting character, but he personifies this kind of like asshole genius trope. You know what I mean? Where a character is like
Mm,
so smart that people just excuse them for being a mean person.
I feel like there's better. He's
Yeah.
clearly coded as autistic.
And it's one of those things where it's like there's definitely that coding there and you can't really ignore it in the conversation, but it's for me I do want to acknowledge the autism coding, but I also want to just point out the prevalence of the trope and how it's not used well in him, because actually I made a comparison between Sheldon and Bones, like Dr. Brennan from like the show Bones, because she is
Yeah,
pretty much like
he's also
she's also has a very similar troping, and I don't necessarily see her as like artistically coded, but I could definitely understand somebody reading her that way. And they play her a lot more humanely. You know what I mean? Like they play her as like an
yeah,
actual
a
person.
lot more understandably.
Yeah, she's like she has feelings and needs and wants that are like emotional. She just isn't good at
Yeah,
expressing that in like a socially acceptable way. And I think that is a
yeah. Granted,
lot.
in the first episode, when they find a skull in
I
her
love that. She's
carry-on
like,
bag,
why
that's
can't I
a
bring a
little bit
skull
on the
into an
nose
airport?
for her.
Mhm.
That's a little bit on the nose for her indifference to polite society, but
Yeah. I actually, I remember like actually writing a little bit about it in a thing I did for another show she did, because I was kind of like comparing like Dr. Brennan thing and like this character because it's basically the same character, and I always kind of find it interesting that like she literally abstracts people, right? She depersonifies humanity by becoming an anthropologist, and so she literally has to like analyze human interaction to deal with like human emotions. You know what I mean? She's perfectly comfortable dealing with like an alternate like subculture of whatever, but she can't be nice to her coworkers in a socially acceptable way. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah. So now that we've had a fun conversation about me not knowing what the hell Will Arnett has done for the past 50 years, what do you think the future of the podcast is going to look like? I guess that's the other big question.
Um, I think the future of the podcast is gonna look like this. We're gonna try to do it a little bit more regularly than we have. We started doing it. Um, I feel like this recent experiment with the gameplay, with the live play, has definitely been eye-opening. It's not going to be an entirely live play podcast or anything. We're still gonna go back and forth on different things. Maybe we'll do maybe we'll do a playthrough of a
Mhm.
game that we both like. Maybe we will go back to talking about pieces of media that we both like. Maybe we'll um I don't know, if this starts to really pick up, we'll do like an adventure vlog or something where we go to Japan or I don't know.
Oh my god.
That's that's optimistic to say the least, but long story short, I feel like laying out a plan for
Mhm.
this particular podcast is not so much salient to the nature
Mhm.
of the podcast because it's very sporadic. It's very
Yeah.
uh, in the moment how we feel, what we feel like making, and
Mhm. So do you mind if I share
and
like kind of a philosophy I have about making content?
go for it.
So the way that I always try to like approach anything I do online, you know what I mean, blogging, making YouTube videos, any of this stuff, is that I try to use making content as an excuse to do something that I don't feel like I have time for. You know what I mean? It's literally saying yes to myself. And I like to think that this podcast is an extension of us saying yes to ourselves to like spend time together and have fun about like just whatever we want to. You know what I mean?
It's not like monetization of our time. Like we still spend time together outside of these conversations,
That's
but
true.
yeah, it's just kind of putting it into action and like
Yeah. It's
exactly
giving
like
us
you
an
said, saying
excuse to do
saying yes to
things.
something.
Yeah. And that's what
Yeah,
I
is
always
what
think is
it
really
is.
fun, is that we're all just trying to find excuses to say yes about just something we're really passionate about. And luckily for the viewers at home, we are two very passionate people about a lot of different things.
Again, yeah, I couldn't agree more.
So I think that's probably a really good stopping point for our quick little update vlogcast. I don't fucking know what we're calling it. Is there
I
any
don't know either, but
yee
then again,
terminology?
like we just said, what's the point in giving it a name?
True. Anyway, is there anything else you want to say to finish us out, or do you think this is a good place to say goodbye to all of
I
our
think
sexy, sexy hunks?
yeah, I think this is pretty good. Uh, I can't think of anything else to add. Just stay tuned. We're working on stuff, and we can't wait to get stuff out there.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Um,
Cool. So if you're
oh
listening
yeah,
to this
indeed.
now, just know that we will be having the next two episodes of the Cyberpunk Red playthrough coming in like, early to mid April, and it's going to be called Tales from the Exquisite Corpse. I'll post a teaser sometime next week.
It's a play on Tales from the Forlorn Hope, a module from the 2020 days, and it's essentially recycling those missions into a red setting and putting a little bit of a spice onto it, updating them just a little bit. And if anyone's interested in seeing those live, we try to be live uh on Twitch at 6 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Eastern Central Time at let me get the Twitch name up of my
Wasn't it platinum seaweed?
it is Seaweed Platinum.
Ah,
I
I
know.
mixed that one up.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I was Platinum Seaweed at one point, but then I forgot that one, so I had to make a new one and I was like, I really like those two words, so I'm just gonna rewrite them. So it is Seaweed Platinum, all lowercase, and I'm still learning how to use Twitch as well as Tailspire as well as Cyberpunk Red itself. But it's a learning experience for all of us as we go along. And maybe we'll end up doing a maybe I'll end up doing a tutorial on how to run Tailspire if
Ooh.
this ends up working. Put that onto the podcast, like teach bulls. You can edit that out, right?
Yeah, I can have that. Actually, I like Teach Bulls. That actually goes with my regular naming convention for what I call things.
Oh yeah. Okay.
No, I
Yeah.
used both as an adjective.
Yeah. Teach one another how to use this program,
Yeah.
if that ever comes up.
Yeah.
But yeah. 6 p.m. Eastern Central Time on Saturdays is when we try to be live,
Yeah. And I'll
and
put a link in the
we kind of
description.
run until question mark, and pop over there, meet all the fools we play with.
Well, anyway, our sexy hunks, we're going to bid you adieu, and I'm trying to think of something snazzy to say as an intro, but I can't think of anything. So, bye.
Don't say anything. Just keep that chaotic nature.
Me just like failed.
And, keep the chaos in your heart.
Keep the chaos in your heart, you sexy hunks. Okay.